When I walked into the house, I knew something was off. My bedroom door was wide open. And sitting on my bed? A suitcase I'd never seen before. I'm Suddy. I've lived in this house for 25 years. Same bedroom. Same faded lilac walls I painted at 16. Same loose floorboard near the window that squeaks if you step on it wrong. But today? Everything I owned was shoved into beat-up cardboard boxes, stacked like leftovers from a yard sale. Mom? I called, my voice echoing through the hallway. What's happening? I heard footsteps from downstairs, followed by my mom's voice, overly bright, like she was welcoming guests to brunch. Suddy, perfect timing. Come say hi to your cousin Marley. I dropped my work bag in the hall, my stomach tightening with every step toward the living room. There she was. A girl around my age, blonde hair curled like she walked out of a salon commercial, holding a designer bag that probably cost more than my entire paycheck. She smiled politely, all sweetness on the surface, but her eyes didn't quite match. I'm so glad you're here. Follow my journey to the very end, and let me know which city you're watching from so I can see how far this story travels. Suddy. Mom beamed, draping an arm over the stranger like they were lifelong besties. This is Marley, your cousin on your dad's side. She's been going through something really tough lately. Marley placed a hand delicately over her stomach. I'm pregnant, she said softly, her tone all fragility and drama. And the father's not involved. I just needed somewhere safe to land while I figure things out. I stared at her. Then at Mom. Okay, but why is her stuff in my room? Mom's smile wavered, just slightly. Well, sweetie, you're 25 now. Isn't it time to be more independent? Maybe start thinking about your own place? The words hit like a slap. Grow up? Mom, I said slowly. I've been helping pay the mortgage for 2 years. I've been buying groceries. I covered the power bill when you lost your last job. That's different, she snapped, her tone sharpening like it always did when the truth got inconvenient. That's part of being family. But Marley? She needs a stable environment right now. She's pregnant. Marley dabbed her eyes with a tissue. I'm really sorry, Suddy. I know this is uncomfortable. If I had any other options. There's the guest room, I interrupted, my voice rising. There's a couch. There's literally any other space in this house. Mom crossed her arms. The guest room is full of storage. And she can't sleep on the couch in her condition. Your room has the best sunlight and it's closest to the bathroom. It just makes sense. I looked around, at the furniture I helped pick out, the walls I painted with her after her last messy breakup, the coffee table I built because she gave up halfway through the instructions. So, where am I supposed to sleep? Mom glanced at Marley, then back at me. Well, I thought maybe you could stay with Angela for a while. Or get a nice little apartment. You've been saying you want more freedom. I blinked. I'd never said that. I'd talked about wanting to study interior design. About maybe turning my side projects into something real. And every time, Mom would shut it down, reminding me that dreams don't pay the bills, and that she needed me here. Marley stood up slowly, still cradling her belly. I feel awful about this, she murmured. Maybe I should try to find somewhere else. Absolutely not, Mom said firmly. Your family. Suddy understands. They both turned to me, waiting for me to nod. To smile. To be the reasonable one, like I'd always been. How long? I asked, voice quiet. What do you mean? Mom replied. How long is she staying? They exchanged a quick glance. Well, at least until the baby's born. Maybe longer. Depends on how things go. I nodded slowly, something cold settling in my chest. I see. I knew you'd understand, Mom said with a relieved sigh. You've always been so mature about these things. I turned and walked upstairs, to what used to be my room, and stared at the boxes. My entire life. Packed up like it already belonged to someone else. My fabric swatches, my sketches, the vision boards I'd made for the studio I dreamed of building someday, shoved aside for someone I'd just met. That night, I sat at my desk and wrote a letter. I left it on my mother's nightstand while she slept. Then I quietly packed my car with as much as I could fit and drove off just as the sky began to lighten. In the rearview mirror, I watched the house shrink until it vanished. "They'll see," I whispered through tears. "They'll all see." The micro-loft I found was more like a closet with a window than an actual home, 47 square feet in a converted warehouse 2 towns over, wedged between a tattoo shop and a laundromat that never closed. The listing had described it as cozy and ideal for minimalist living. What it really meant was, just cheap enough that I didn't have to crawl back. "This is it?" Angela asked, setting down the last box. We'd reconnected after I posted a vague status about starting over. She showed up at my door with coffee and cardboard boxes before I even asked. "It's only for now," I said, scanning the room. A fold-down Murphy bed covered one wall. On the other, a cramped kitchenette barely big enough for a hot plate. The bathroom was so tight, you had to step into the shower just to close the door behind you. "Suddy, this place is smaller than my closet." "Yeah, well, your closet doesn't come with freedom." Angela sat down on the bed, which let out a loud creak beneath her. "Have you heard from your mom since you left?" 17 missed calls and around 30 texts asking when I'm coming back. I held out my phone so she could read the latest one. "Marley's asking about you. She feels awful. Can we just talk? Please?" I shook my head. I'm tired of being the family's welcome mat. Angela pulled a thick design portfolio out of one of the boxes. "You know, I always wondered why you didn't do more with these. They're amazing." "Because Mom said it wasn't realistic," I replied. "She wanted me focused on a steady paycheck." "While you paid her mortgage," Angela added. "While I was being responsible," I corrected. The words came out sharp. Bitter. Angela flipped through the pages, layouts, color schemes, sketches of friends' apartments I'd transformed for fun. "These aren't just decent, Suddy. They're legit. Like, magazine-worthy. Why didn't you ever show me this stuff back when we were kids?" I thought back to being 12. I'd once shown Mom a sketch I'd made, reorganizing our cramped living room to make it feel more open. She glanced at it for maybe 2 seconds before saying, "That's sweet, honey, but we can't afford new furniture." When I explained that we didn't need new furniture, just to shift things around, she patted my head and said, "Maybe when you're older, you'll understand how real life works." "I tried," I said simply. Angela shut the portfolio and looked around my shoebox apartment. "What if we documented this?" "Documented what?" "You turning this little box into something incredible. That kind of stuff goes viral online." I laughed, dryly. Who's going to care about some random girl fixing up a glorified closet? You'd be surprised. There's a whole scene, tiny space makeovers, DIY transformations. Some of these accounts have millions of followers. I don't know the first thing about social media. But I do, Angela said, eyes lighting up. The same spark she had when she talked me into running for student council in high school. "I work in digital marketing now. I can help, set up the accounts, plan posts, use the right hashtags. All of it." I looked around the depressing little space. The walls were that dead beige color that made everything look tired. The lighting was harsh, like an interrogation room. The whole place screamed failure. I don't exactly have money for renovations. So we get scrappy. Hit thrift stores, do DIYs, grab paint from the clearance shelf. And film the entire process. Show people how to make something beautiful on a budget. I walked to the only window and looked down. A woman was loading laundry into her trunk, probably heading to the laundromat downstairs because her building didn't have machines. A guy with paint on his jeans was unlocking the tattoo shop. Regular people. Just doing their best. What would we even call it? The account, I mean. Something snappy. Tiny turnaround. Cozy makeover. Small space, big dream. We'll brainstorm. Angela joined me at the window. We'll figure it out. My phone buzzed again, another message from Mom. Please come home. We can talk. We'll figure something out. I flipped the phone face down on the sill. Okay, I said. Let's do it. Angela's grin lit up the whole room. Seriously? Yeah. But I want to do it right. Pro level, like you said. Deal. When do we start? I looked around again. But this time, I didn't just see the dull walls or the tiny bathroom. I saw possibilities. Clean lines. Clever storage. A color scheme that would open the place up. Tomorrow, I said. We start tomorrow. That night, lying in the creaky Murphy bed, I listened to the city outside. For the first time in weeks, I wasn't thinking about Mom or Marley or the bedroom that wasn't mine anymore. I was thinking about what came next. 3 weeks into the makeover project, and my Instagram had 47 followers. Most were Angela's friends, plus a few design accounts that followed everyone back. These things take time, Angela said, adjusting the ring light she'd brought over for photos. The algorithm just needs one breakout post. I was brushing a fresh coat onto the accent wall, deep forest green, a shade I'd mixed myself from clearance rack paint. The whole makeover had cost less than $200, but it looked like something straight from a design blog. Maybe we should try TikTok? I suggested, stepping back to check the wall. Instagram first. Build your base, then branch out. She snapped a few photos. These are stunning, by the way. The way that light hits the green? Gorgeous. My phone buzzed, another DM. I almost ignored it. It was usually spam or someone trying to sell followers. But something told me to check. Hi. I found your micro loft redesign and I'm blown away. Would you be open to collaborating? I've got a space that could really use your touch. Youssef. I handed my phone to Angela. Do you know this guy? She scrolled through his profile. Her eyes widened. Suddy, this is Youssef Hamilton. The singer. He's got, like, 3 million followers. Never heard of him. He had that breakup song that was everywhere last year. He's huge online. Angela kept scrolling. Look at his place. It's stunning, but it doesn't feel lived in. Like a luxury hotel. The photos showed a massive, modern home, floor-to-ceiling windows, sleek designer furniture that looked like it had never been touched. Gorgeous, sure. But sterile. He wants me to redo that? He wants to collaborate, Angela corrected. Could be one room, could be the whole house. She was practically bouncing in place with excitement. Suddy, if he even mentioned your name to his followers. I took my phone back and stared at the message. What if I blow it? What if you don't? I began typing. Hi Youssef, thanks so much for reaching out. I'd love to hear more about what you're thinking. His reply came within minutes. Would you be up for a call tomorrow? I've lived here for 2 years, and it still doesn't feel like mine. I think you might be able to change that. The next day, I stood outside his house, trying not to panic. In person, the place was even more intimidating, walls of glass, polished steel, and landscaping so perfectly maintained it probably had a monthly salary attached. I expected a personal assistant or house manager to answer the door. Instead, it was Youssef himself. He was shorter than I'd pictured, with warm eyes and paint-stained fingers. Suddy, I'm really glad you came. He stepped aside to let me in. Fair warning, inside's a little bleak. He wasn't wrong. The living room was massive and full of expensive furniture, but it felt like a showroom. No warmth. No signs of life. It's beautiful, I said carefully. It's empty, he replied. My ex picked everything out before we split. I always meant to change it, but I never knew where to start. I walked around snapping photos, jotting notes. What kind of space do you feel comfortable in? What feels like home to you? He paused. Honestly? Your little apartment in the photos, that felt more like home than this place ever has. We spent the next 2 hours touring the house. He showed me his music room, the only space that felt truly personal. Guitars leaned against the wall, open notebooks littered a desk, and local artwork was pinned up without frames. This, I said, turning in the room, this is you. Energy, creativity, soul. We need to bring this feeling to the rest of the house. Do you think you can? I looked again at the stark living room, but now I saw potential. Cozy textures, meaningful art, furniture positioned for connection, not just aesthetics. I can. But I have one request. Name it. I want to document everything, start to finish. And when it's done, you post it to your followers. Youssef grinned. Deal. When can you start? Tomorrow. 2 weeks later, Angela and I were adding the last touches to the living room when Youssef walked in, phone already recording. You guys, you have to see what Seti did to my house, he said, camera rolling. She's an actual wizard. The transformation was dramatic. We'd kept the structure of the room but infused it with warmth, layered textiles, personal artwork, and thoughtful furniture placement that encouraged people to stay, to talk, to live. It finally feels like a home, Youssef continued, turning the camera on himself. And the best part? She did it on a budget regular people can actually work with. No overpriced throw pillows, no $1,000 chairs, just pure creative vision. He posted the video that night. By the next morning, it had over 2.3 million views. My phone buzzed at 6 a.m. and didn't stop. Notifications, messages, new followers, comments. Angela called, screaming. Seti. You have 120,000 new followers. Your DMs are a disaster. Like, in a good way. I sat on my Murphy bed in my tiny apartment, watching the numbers climb. And for the first time since walking out of my mom's house, I smiled without forcing it. Then my phone rang. Mom's face filled the screen. I let it go to voicemail. It was 3 minutes of her crying. Seti, please. I know you're upset, but we have to talk. It's about Marley. She's gone. And, she took money. The power got shut off yesterday. There are foreclosure notices. I don't know what to do. Please. Call me. I listened to it twice. Then I deleted it. Angela looked up from her laptop, still sorting through client inquiries. Your mom? Yeah. Apparently Marley vanished. You going to call her back? I opened a message from a potential client in Seattle wanting a full condo overhaul. Nope. Still, curiosity itched at me. 3 days later, on my way to a consultation, I took a detour, past the old house. The lawn was brown and patchy. Paint was peeling off the porch. A big yellow notice was taped to the front door. I parked across the street and dialed Rylin, Marley's half-sister. We'd been friendly in high school, before she moved to Portland. Seti. Oh my God. I was wondering when someone would reach out. What's going on with Marley? She skipped town. Left about 2 weeks ago with some guy she met online. Before she did, she cleaned out your mom's account. How much? About $3,000. And she maxed out a few credit cards, too. Your mom didn't realize until the bills started coming in. I watched a neighbor walk by, shaking their head at the dying lawn. And the pregnancy? I asked. Silence. Then. Seti, there wasn't one. What are you talking about? She ordered a fake belly online. Bought pregnancy tests from eBay that always show positive. She's been running this con for months. She pulled the same stunt with her ex's family in Oregon. Then again with some distant cousins in Nevada. The yellow eviction notice flapped in the wind. You're telling me she pretended to be pregnant just to take my room? She pretended to be pregnant to get free rent, free meals, and full access to your mom's bank account. I tried to warn Helen, but Marley convinced her I was just being spiteful. I ended the call and sat there, parked in front of the house I'd grown up in. The one I'd helped pay for. The house where my mother had once again chosen a stranger over her own daughter. My phone rang. Mom again. This time, I picked up. Suddy, thank God. I've been calling you for days. I've been working. Sweetheart, I need your help. Marley took off, and she drained some of the money. The mortgage bounced. The electricity was shut off yesterday. I don't know what to do. Where is she now? I don't know. She vanished. Left a note saying she was sorry, but she had to leave. I think that guy she was seeing pushed her into it. What guy? Some man she met online. She told me he was helping her get back on track, but honestly, I think he was using her. I almost laughed. Mom, did you ever confirm that she was actually pregnant? What kind of question is that? Of course she was. I saw the test myself. Did you see anything from a doctor? Ultrasound? Medical records? She said she hadn't found the right OB yet. Why are you questioning me about this? I started the engine. I have to go. Wait, Suddy, please. I know you're still upset about the room, but I really need you. The bank sent foreclosure paperwork. I could lose the house. The house you forced me out of? I didn't force you out. You just assumed I'd keep playing the cleanup crew. That I'd stick around forever because I had nowhere else to go. That's not fair. You're right. It's not. I hung up. Later that night, Angela found me on the fire escape, legs dangling over the edge, staring out at the skyline. Tough day? Marley was never pregnant. Angela sat beside me. You're serious? Fake belly, knockoff pregnancy tests, the whole thing. She's been doing this to different families for months. And your mom bought it? She chose to believe it. That's the difference. Angela didn't say anything right away. What are you going to do? I thought about the foreclosure notice. The frantic voicemails. The bedroom that had been mine for 25 years, handed over to a scammer. I'm going to let her figure it out on her own. Really? Really? She wanted me to grow up and move on. Well, mission accomplished. My phone buzzed with another text from her. The water got shut off. Please come home. I deleted it. You know what the wild part is? I said. I'm not even angry anymore. I'm just done. That's probably more terrifying for her than you being mad. I looked out toward the part of the city where my childhood home still sat, swallowed in darkness. Good. I waited 5 full days before I responded. Not a phone call. Not a tearful reunion. Just a professional email, sent from my brand new business address, at exactly 9 a.m. on a Monday. Subject, Property Resolution Options. Helen. I understand you're experiencing financial hardship regarding the family home. After assessing the situation, I'm offering 2 possible solutions. Option 1, I purchase the property at its current appraised value, $285,000, with a 30-day closing timeline. This would allow you to settle the outstanding mortgage and have funds left over for relocation. Option 2, you vacate the property within 14 days, and I assume full ownership and payments on the mortgage I've already been contributing to for the past 2 years. Please reply within 48 hours with your decision. Suddy Ward. Interior Design Consultant. Angela read it over my shoulder as I hit send. Damn. That's cold. That's business. Within 10 minutes, my phone rang. Suddy, what is this email? I don't understand. It's pretty clear, Mom. Choose an option. You can't be serious. You're offering to buy the house? It's not yours anymore. You're 3 months behind. The bank technically owns it now. But I raised you in that house. That's our family home. You handed that family home over to a grifter. And packed up my things like I was a tenant with an overdue lease. I didn't mean for it to happen that way. You boxed up my life and told me to grow up. What would you call that? She was crying now. Suddy, can't we just talk about this like people? Like family? We are. I sent you a professional offer. Respond accordingly. I don't have $285,000. Then take the second option. Where am I supposed to go? I paused. I don't know, Mom. Where did you expect me to go when you handed my room to a stranger? The line went silent except for her soft sniffling. This isn't who you are, Sadie. You're not this heartless. You're right. The old me would have dropped everything and rushed home to fix it. The old me would have taken out loans I couldn't afford to rescue a house that never even belonged to me. But that version of me? She was naive. I ended the call. Angela stared at me. Remind me never to cross you. She made her decision. Now she has to live with it. 2 days later, Angela came bursting through my apartment door, clutching her laptop like it was on fire. You have to see this. She flipped it open and pulled up a local news site. The headline read, Family drama of young designer goes viral after anonymous tip. What did you do? I may have contacted a few reporters. Anonymously, of course. She grinned. Small-town girl supports her family for years, gets thrown out for a pregnant cousin, who turns out to be a fraud. Classic human interest gold. The article included neighbor quotes about how they'd seen me mowing the lawn, bringing groceries, running errands. One person even submitted before and after pictures, how the house looked now versus when I was living there. Angela, this is genius. I know. And your Instagram? Blew up, another 50,000 followers since this hit. Everyone's calling you the Phoenix designer. Rising from the ashes of family betrayal. My phone hadn't stopped buzzing, interview requests, DMs from new clients, support messages from strangers sharing their own family horror stories. And get this, Angela continued, 3 different people have come forward claiming Marley tried to scam them too. She's basically internet famous now. Just not the kind you want to be. That afternoon, Mom called again. Suddy, there are reporters calling me. People are saying horrible things about me online. Someone told them about Marley. About the baby. What kind of horrible things? That I'm a terrible mother. That I picked a con artist over my own child. They're calling me manipulative and selfish. Huh. That's it? Huh? What do you want me to say, Mom? That they're wrong? Yes, she snapped. I want you to tell them they're wrong. But they're not. The silence dragged. I never wanted any of this, she whispered. But it happened. And now you get to sit with it. Please, Sadie. I'm begging you. Come home. We can talk this out. I am home. This is my home now. That tiny apartment? That's not a real home. It's more of a home than that house ever was. At least here, no one can throw me out when it's convenient. I made a mistake. No, Mom. You made a choice. That's not the same thing. I was about to hang up when she said something that stopped me cold. Marley came back. What? She showed up this morning. New boyfriend in tow. Says she wants to make things right. She asked about you. I looked at Angela, who raised an eyebrow. Tell her I said hi, I said. Then hung up. Angela smirked. Well, this is about to get interesting. I smiled back. Oh, it's about to get very interesting. I arrived Saturday morning in a tailored blazer and sleek heels, portfolio in hand. My hair was professionally done, makeup on point. I didn't just look successful, I was successful. Mom answered the door looking like she hadn't slept in days. Her eyes widened. Sadie, you look different. I look like I'm doing just fine. May I come in? She stepped aside. In the living room, Marley sat on the couch beside some guy with neck tattoos and a backwards cap. The fake pregnancy bump? Nowhere in sight. Sadie. Marley jumped up, flashing that syrupy smile. I'm so glad you came. I owe you a huge apology. Is that so? Of course. I know the whole room thing was awkward, but I was in a bad place. Pregnant, emotional, hormones all over the place. Cut the performance, Marley. I know there was no baby. The smile faltered. I don't know what you mean. I took out my phone and pulled up the article. Rylan told me everything. The fake belly, the tampered tests, the entire scam you've been running on different families. Her boyfriend turned to her. You told me you lost the baby. I did. It was early, very emotional, very traumatic. Marley, I said, keeping my voice cool and measured, I have purchase records from your Amazon account. The fake belly, the positive test kits, even the bogus ultrasound images you bought on Etsy. Want to see the receipts? Mom slumped into a chair. What is she talking about? I unzipped my leather portfolio and laid out printed screenshots on the coffee table, transaction confirmations, shipping invoices, and yes, even the product reviews Marley herself had left for the fake pregnancy items. She's been pulling this scam for months. Finds emotionally vulnerable families, pretends she's pregnant and in crisis, moves in, takes what she wants, and disappears before anyone catches on. Marley's face turned crimson. That's not true. You can't prove anything. Actually, I said, reaching into the folder again, I can. I hired a private investigator after Rylan came clean. He put together a full report. Her boyfriend stood up. Marley, what the hell is going on? Don't listen to her, Jake. She's just mad because I got her old room. You got my room by lying to my mother about being pregnant. Then you stole $3,000 and vanished in the middle of the night. Mom stared at the document spread across the table, pale and silent. Marley, is this true? Helen, seriously? You know me. Do you really think I'd do something like that? Yes, I said flatly. You would. And you did. You did it to me. You did it to your ex's family in Oregon. And to the relatives in Nevada. Want me to keep going? Jake grabbed his jacket and stood up fast. I'm out. This is too much. Jake, wait, Marley chased him to the door. It slammed shut behind them. Through the window, I saw Jake speed out of the driveway while Marley stood on the porch screaming his name. Mom picked up one of the receipts. A fake pregnancy belly. $49.99 plus shipping. She was never pregnant. Unbelievable. Mom looked up at me, tears brimming in her eyes. Sadie. I'm so sorry. I didn't know. No, you didn't want to know. You believed her because it was easier than facing the truth. What truth? That you chose a stranger over your own daughter. That you threw away 25 years of me having your back, all because someone showed up crying with a story. Marley came back inside, mascara smeared, phone clutched in her hand. Sadie, please, don't do this. I can pay your mom back. I just need time. With what money? You don't have a job. And your boyfriend just left you. I'll find work. I'll fix this. I stood, calmly closing my portfolio. You're not fixing anything. You're leaving. You can't kick me out. This isn't even your house. I pulled out a folder and placed it on the table. Actually, it is now. I assumed the mortgage this morning. The bank was more than happy to deal with someone who actually has income and good credit. Mom went pale. What? I told you I was buying the house. You never responded to my email, so I went ahead with Plan B. I brought the payments current and had the mortgage transferred to me. But where am I supposed to go? That's not my concern anymore, Mom. You've got 30 days to find another place. Marley was furiously typing on her phone. This is illegal. You can't just take someone's house. I didn't take anything. I paid for what I've been covering for the past 2 years. You can check the bank records. Helen, she begged, you're not going to let her do this to us, are you? Mom looked at Marley, then at the documents still laid out on the table. Us, she said quietly. There is no us anymore, Marley. You lied to me. You stole from me. You turned everything upside down. I was desperate. So was I, Mom whispered. That's why I let myself believe you. I headed toward the door. Marley, you have 1 hour to grab your things and go. If you're still here after that, I'm calling the police. Sadie, please. Mom followed me outside. I know I messed up, but I'm still your mother. Can't we work something out? I turned to face her, standing there on the porch of the house that now legally belonged to me. You taught me something important, Mom. That blood doesn't make someone family, actions do. I love you. No. You love everything I did for you. That's not the same. I got in my car and drove off, leaving her standing in the same way she once left me. Surrounded by boxes, alone in the hallway. Only this time, I wasn't the one crying. 2 weeks later, I stood in my childhood bedroom, sledgehammer in hand, ready to knock down the wall between it and the guest room. Someone knocked on the front door. Expecting company? Angela asked, pushing her goggles onto her forehead. Nope. I opened the door and saw a man in his 50s with graying hair and the exact same green eyes as mine. He held a small, neatly wrapped box and looked like he'd been rehearsing this moment for hours. Sadie. I didn't need to hear another word. I knew. Dad. Hi, sweetheart. I know this is unexpected. That's one word for it. I didn't invite him in. What do you want, Earl? I heard about everything, your mom, Marley. I just wanted to make sure you're okay. I'm fine. Actually, I'm better than fine. He glanced past me into the chaos, paint swatches, demo debris, sketches taped everywhere. You remodeling? I'm turning the house into a creative studio. A space for young artists, kids who need a place to create without being told their dreams aren't realistic. Earl smiled, and I hated how much it reminded me of my own smile. That sounds perfect for you. How would you know what's perfect for me? You left when I was 8. I know. And I owe you an explanation. You don't owe me anything. 17 years went by. I figured out how to live without you. Can I come in? Just for a few minutes? Against my better judgment, I let him in. Angela gave a polite nod and went back to measuring wall studs. Earl looked around, taking in the evidence of my life, art, planning, ambition. Your mom always said you got your creativity from me. She said a lot of things that weren't true. She told you I left because I didn't want the responsibility of being a father. Didn't you? He sat down slowly. I left because I was having panic attacks so bad I couldn't leave my room. I saw things that weren't there. Heard voices. Your mom said I was scaring you. I stopped fidgeting with the stack of sketches. What? I was having a full mental breakdown. Instead of helping me get treatment, Helen gave me an ultimatum: get help or stay away from you. She said she wouldn't let someone crazy raise her daughter. She never told me any of that. She was ashamed. Back then, people didn't talk about mental illness, especially in a town like this. He pulled out his phone and showed me a picture of a tiny apartment, every wall covered in colorful paintings. I've been in therapy for 15 years. I take medication. I paint now, it helps quiet the anxiety. I wanted to reach out for so long, but Helen made me promise to stay away until you turned 18. By then, I thought you hated me. I did hate you. I don't blame you. I sat across from him, heart still guarded. So, why now? Because I've been following your story. I saw the articles. I've followed your Instagram. I know everything that's happened. I'm proud of you. And I'm so sorry for what your mother put you through. You've been watching me online for years? I knew about your design work long before it ever went viral. I knew about every job you worked just to cover Helen's bills. I knew she was using you, and I should have spoken up. Then why didn't you? Because I was a coward, Earl said, eyes down. I was terrified that if I reached out, Helen would tell you things about me, things that would make you hate me more than you already did. Angela had stopped working. She was still, quietly listening from across the room. What kind of things? I asked. Earl hesitated, then exhaled slowly. That I tried to take my own life. That she found me in the garage, with a rope. That was the day she gave me an ultimatum, get help and stay away from you, or she'd make sure I never saw you again. The air seemed to vanish from the room. She did save my life by forcing me to get help. But she also convinced me that loving you meant staying far away. He held out a small wrapped box. This belonged to your grandmother, my mother. Helen never told you about her. She passed not long after I left. But she left this behind for you. Inside the box was a delicate silver bracelet, adorned with tiny charms, a paintbrush, a little house, a heart. She was an artist too. Painted murals in the library, the church. Everyone used to say you reminded them of her, even when you were little. I turned the bracelet over gently in my hands. Why are you giving me this now? Because you deserve to know the truth. And because even from afar, someone in your family has always been proud of you. Angela cleared her throat softly. I'm gonna run out and grab lunch. You two keep talking. After she left, Earl and I sat in silence for a long stretch. I don't know how to even start processing all of this, I said at last. You don't have to, he replied. Not right now. I just wanted you to understand, you weren't abandoned because you weren't enough. You were kept at a distance by someone who thought she was protecting you. Someone who loved you enough to let go. Even if that's true, it doesn't undo everything that happened. No. But maybe it can change what happens next. I looked around the home I'd fought so hard to reclaim. What happens next, I said, is I build something better. Earl smiled. I'd love to see that, if you'll let me. Maybe, I said. We'll see. It wasn't forgiveness. But it wasn't resentment either. It was something else. Something new. The grand opening of Phoenix Design Studio was everything I'd hoped for. Local news covered the ribbon cutting. My Instagram Live had hundreds of viewers. And the house that once felt like a cage was now filled with color, laughter, and young artists proudly showing off their work. Sadie, Channel 7 wants to talk with you, Angela called as she navigated the crowd with her clipboard, weaving through conversations and canvases. I'd just finished chatting with the scholarship winners, 5 teens from underprivileged backgrounds who were now getting a year of free art mentorship and all the materials they needed. This is amazing, said Maya, a 17-year-old whose portfolio had blown me away. It doesn't feel real. It's real, I told her. And next time someone tells you art isn't a real path, bring them here. Show them this room. Yusuf appeared beside me, phone poised and recording. Mind if I get this on camera? My audience is obsessed with your story. Only if you mention the scholarship program. Already planned on it. As Yusuf filmed, I spotted Earl in the corner, quietly snapping photos of the artwork on the walls. He'd been showing up every day during renovations, always with coffee, always ready to work, never asking for anything in return. The paintings are beautiful, I said as I walked over. They remind me of your mom's work. He smiled softly. She would have loved this place. A commotion near the front caught my attention. Pushing her way through the crowd was a face I hadn't expected. Mom. She looked older, like the stress of the last few months had taken years off her life. She wore the same floral dress from my high school graduation, probably the nicest thing she still owned. Sadie, can we talk? The chatter around us dimmed. Angela moved a step closer, clearly ready to intervene. We're in the middle of an event, Mom. I know. Her eyes swept the room, taking it all in. I wanted to see what you've done here. She looked around at the transformed home. The knocked-down walls. The sunlight pouring through the new windows. The kitchen now a hub for art supplies and tools. It's beautiful, she said quietly. It's everything you always said it could be. What do you want? I want to say I'm sorry. Really sorry. Not just because I need something. Because I was wrong. About everything. About Marley. About your dreams. About treating you like you owed me something just because I raised you. A reporter was inching closer, clearly angling to catch our exchange on film. Not here, I said, gently steering her toward the back patio. Once outside, away from the cameras and the crowd, she broke down. And this time I didn't turn away. I lost the apartment, she said quietly. Been crashing with my sister in Phoenix. She charges me rent and makes me clean the kitchen like I'm 16 again. That sucks, I said. Do you mean that? I paused, really thinking about it. Yeah, I do. I don't want you out on the street or suffering. I just don't want to be the one fixing your mess anymore. I get that now. She dabbed at the corners of her eyes with a tissue. I saw the news story about your studio. The scholarships. You're helping kids who remind you of who you were. I'm helping kids whose families believe in them, I corrected. There's a big difference. She winced but nodded. I let you down. I see that now. You didn't let me down, Mom. You just kept making the wrong choices, one after another. Can I ask you something? She said cautiously. If I'd supported your dreams from the start, really backed you, do you think things would have turned out differently? I looked back through the studio's wide windows. Inside, teenagers were huddled around sketchpads, buzzing with ideas. Angela was juggling interviews with reporters. Probably, I said. But then I might never have learned that I didn't need anyone's permission to succeed. I'm proud of you, she said. I know, I replied softly. We stood there for a beat, watching through the glass as Earl helped one of the scholarship students mount a canvas on the wall. That your dad? She asked. Yeah. He looks good. He is good. He got the help he needed. Her face twisted. I was terrified back then, of his illness, of what people would say, of having to do it all on my own. So, you made sure you would end up doing it alone. She let out a breath, defeated. I messed up. A lot. Yeah. You did. Angela popped into view at the doorway, clipboard in hand. Sadie, the mayor's ready to give you the key to the city. I'm coming, I told her. I turned back to my mom. I've gotta go. I know, she said, stepping away. Then she stopped and looked back. For what it's worth. I always knew you had something special. I was just too scared to let you soar. I soared anyway. I can see that. I watched her walk away, and for the first time in a long while, the anger in my chest gave way to something softer. Not quite forgiveness. But something closer to clarity. Inside, the mayor was giving a speech about small businesses, youth programs, and second chances. Cameras flashed as she handed me an oversized ceremonial key. Any words for the viewers at home? The reporter asked. I glanced around at everything I had built from the ground up, the studio, the students, the team that believed in me when my own family didn't. They thought I was running away, I said into the mic. But I wasn't. I was taking back everything they said I wasn't worthy of. Applause broke out around the room. And somewhere out there, I hoped someone who had been counted out, dismissed, overlooked, was watching. Maybe they'd start to believe they could take their dreams back, too. This wasn't revenge that burned bridges. It was the kind that turned rubble into something radiant. Something that could finally last.